So it's about that time of the year again, so I've asked Coach Wood and Coach Byrd and Coach Mason to kind of tell us what's happening with the football program. So I'll turn it over to David.
George said, I guess it's kind of nice to get on that turf because of the lack of water, but kind of a double-edged sword there because that turf is about 30 degrees hotter than grass. So on the 100-degree day, it's about 130 down there. And to compensate for that, we've kind of changed our two-a-day schedule. We went to 2 workouts in the morning and was, by the most part, off the field by 12 or 12:15. Sometimes the freshman kids have to come out after that and have a workout on it, but they only had 1 a day, and while the other guys were going twice a day. But we're done with the 2-a-day part. We had a scrimmage last week, this last Saturday against Idalou, and they're all the state champions that they were made out to be. They're awfully good. And we found out some things we got to work on, and we'll be ready for the opener against Shallow-Water next Friday night here. We got Meet the Mules tonight at 7 o'clock in the gymnasium. Stay out of the heat again, and don't have to face that west sun in the evening. We'll get started about 7, and then the kids will introduce themselves, and then we'll have some ice cream after that. Day after tomorrow, Thursday night, we have another scrimmage against Lubbock Cooper. That scrimmage will start with the JV and freshmen at 5 o'clock, going at the same time, going in opposite directions on the field. And then the varsity will follow 6:30 or 7, so whenever we kind of get things organized and get those JV and freshman kids off the field. Next week, it's kind of a unique situation. We haven't had this in the past, but we had to go to Shallow-Water with our JV freshmen and varsity the first week because the field was not turned over to us by that time last year. So consequently, this year, all 3 of those teams are coming to our place. So we'll have three games next week here. The freshman JV will play Thursday night, and then the varsity will play Friday night, 7:30 for our home opener. To kind of sum up what's happened during 2 days, we have about 80 kids, 77 or 78 kids out for football right now. We have a few kids we're still looking at, trying to decide whether to put them on the varsity or not right now. But right now in the varsity locker room, we have 26 kids with maybe a couple to move up and see how they do in this coming scrimmage. The JV kids are about at 20 right now, and the freshman is our largest class, and they have 31 or 2 right now. So it's a good bunch of kids. We're excited about this year. If you don't have a schedule and you have an old schedule, it's just flip-flop the sites. I think they've got it updated on the website about the schedule for this coming year. If you want to just get on Muleshoe's website and find the schedule. Before I turn it over and let the other 2 coaches talk about offense and defense a little bit, do any of you guys have any questions for us?
What does the district look like this year?
Overall, it's considered just a tad weaker, I think, but according to the state, we're still one of the toughest districts in the state, or the toughest district in the state. So although the teams might not be as good as they were, but I guess by the time playoffs come rolling around, I guess they expect us all, whoever makes it, to be pretty good. When you look at the polls around, which you know what I feel about polls, but the experts out there feel like us and Littlefield and Bushland and even Childress are going to are the top dogs in the district, with Roosevelt right there in the mix sometimes also, with all the different polls. Back in '08, Muleshoe was considered a dark horse and for the playoffs. And this year we're considered a dark horse for the playoffs, so maybe that's a sign of good. Any others? All right, I'm going to turn it over to Kirk Byrd. He's our defensive coordinator. He's going to talk a little bit about the defense.
Well, it's good to be here again to see you guys and go to church with a lot of you guys. So, main thing this year was on defense, we're trying to find some new kids that can fill some spots. We've had, of course, you know, Cooper Washington and Rico Alcorn, lots of good players the last few years, and we think we have some kids that can take over those roles, but they're just unproven. And as far as our defensive line, we play a split defense. We have 4 down linemen, and this year all 4 of those guys are brand new guys. They hadn't been on the varsity or they hadn't played much on the varsity, so those 4 guys are kind of learning on the go. So if you know anything about defensive football, those 4 guys are very important because those kind of set the tone as far as if we can stop the run or not. So we're trying to find 4 guys that can do that for us, and we think we found the 4 we need there. At linebacker, we're going to have Isaac Baca and Ryan Johnson and probably Matthew Embreeze filling those roles, and those 3 guys are all going to be starting. We only have 2 linebacker spots, but those 3 guys will fill in there and rotate through there. And we'll be having, you know, Isaac started last year, and Ryan Johnson spelled him some too. So they've played linebacker on the varsity, so that's encouraging there. Outside linebacker is probably our best player, Bo Villa. He's an all-state linebacker. I think he's had like 90 tackles last year, and so we're expecting big things from him. He also happens to be our quarterback, so for us, our quarterback's very important. So we're hoping we can get Bo in defense every once in a while. You know, he is a very good player. He sure does make us better. Secondary-wise, we have 2 safeties back. This will be their 3rd year to start. Ryan DeLeon and Saul Elizalde, they're very good players. Saul's an all-state punter as well. They're athletic back there, and they're pretty good leaders, I think. They do a very good job communicating on what we're doing and make sure everybody's on the same page there. At our 2 corner spots, we got Eric Orozco. He's a second, I think he's a all-district player, is that right? And I think he was all Atlas Journal, I think, something. So he's a very good player for us on defense at corner, and he's a 2nd-year starter. And then our other corner is Ray Martinez. He'll be a 1st-year starter, but he rolled in last year, some played. So we've had some guys that have played on varsity, and we have some guys that are trying to prove themselves. But we feel like when we get it all put together, that we can be a pretty good defensive football team. So we're very excited about it, and pretty athletic in the secondary linebacker position. So we're hoping that we can make a good run this year. So, you guys have any questions or anything?
Can you tell with the twins yet, kind of what position they're?
No, they're probably the offensive linemen. Well, they look right now. They're probably offensive linemen. Thank
Are they
you.
coachable?
Yeah, right now. I listen to mom and daddy pretty good right now.
They are stubborn.
This year, we did see us line up in our wishbone double tight, 3 yards and cloud of dust offense. No, we're not saying that. No, as you well know, we've been in spread offense for quite some time. I think this is our 6th year, and with each year, our kids just seem to get better and better in it. I mean, they've learned so much about it that a lot of times they start to react and do things without you even telling them to, and that's kind of where we've evolved to. Our offense is basically broken down into obviously receivers and running back, and then the offensive line, and like Kirk says, of course, the quarterback is very, very important in getting the offense executed. Just a little bit about those different areas. This year, we really feel like that we may have more balance across the board with the receivers than we've ever had. It seems like a lot of times we've had, 3 pretty good ones and 1 that was kind of average.
I'm just talking about statistically and how many balls they catch and things like that. And looking across the board with the guys that we're looking at starting right now, there's a lot of talent there. Any of them and all of them are capable of not only catching balls, but turning them into big plays. And Ryan DeLeon, who has been playing his position, I guess, for 3 years now. He came with the sophomore dude. And I mean, he's just a very talented kid at that position, and he just goes up and catches balls that you wouldn't expect him to sometimes. On the other side, Eric Orozco, who emerged last year, I think at one point, I think he had 14 catches and 6 touchdowns, so that kind of gives you an idea of his production. We put him on the opposite side to Ryan, because that's one of the things I like to do is balance our receivers as far as their ability is concerned. And then in our inside positions, Saul Elizalde has really shined so far this year early. He had a little bit of a pull in his one of his leg muscles, and we had him out for a while, but he has really looked good. And then Ray Martinez, who got a little bit of experience at that position last year, he's like having another tailback on the field. Well, he was a tailback till we moved him there, actually. So we really feel good about those, and you know, we're developing some depth to go behind them as well. Last year we were very deep with the receivers, and this year we had a little more inexperience and stuff, so we're still having to develop that part of it. Running backs, you know, last year we had 3 real good running backs. Juan graduated, Juan Sanchez, and returning we have Isaac Baca and his younger brother Junior Baca. And I don't know, somebody calling him, I heard David say somebody called them thunder and lightning, you know. It's kind of a revelation, but it's really true. I mean, Isaac is a physical type runner. I mean, he'd rather run through you than try to run around you. And if y'all remember the Florida game a couple of years ago, he did that on 7 carries and had about 221 yards, and it seemed like he scored nearly every time he touched the ball. Junior, I mean, it's just like, oh. I mean, you get him out in open space and his feet start going, and I mean, you don't know where he's going. And I mean, he can be gone in a flash. Talking about, I kid him sometimes about being a blur. He truly is a blur when he gets the football. I mean, he's just so quick and exciting to watch. And so we feel real good about that position. Quarterback right now, Boavia, as Kirk mentioned, he's the senior quarterback, and you can kind of see some of the experience starting to crop up in the way he's run the offense. Coach's son Caleb has been working that spot, and he had his best workout yesterday throwing the ball, so we feel like we got good promise there. Our offensive line is probably maybe one of our biggest surprises so far. Unfortunately, we only had 1 kid returning that had a lot of time last year, and that was Ryan Johnson. He played a lot for us there and did a great job. Juan Guerrero had a little bit of time playing there last year, but a lot of our kids are new. But the good thing about it is they have great potential, and they're working really hard at it. It's kind of been a surprise to us. And the other good news is most of them's going to be back next year because they're all underclassmen. There's very few seniors on that line. But they have really kind of surprised us so far. We're not where we need to be yet. If you saw the scrimmage last week and they had to try to block that all-state defense, or 2 all-state defensive tackles maybe, but those guys are good, and we had a difficult time blocking them, but that's the kind of people you want to go against to show them where they need to be. So we feel like if we continue to develop those guys, that we have a chance to be successful in it. And if you look at the whole thing all together, I mean, what you want to have is balance across the board, not only between receivers catching the ball, but also between your run game and your passing game. And we feel like we've got that. We feel like we can stay injury free and those kind of things that we can have another exciting year. Any questions about my wishbone offense? Nice haircut, Jackson. Like it. Thank you for having us.
One of the questions that I'm asked constantly is, well, how you gonna be? Well, how you gonna be? Well, how you gonna be? Well, well, just show up and see how we're gonna be. No, we're really excited about this year. If you'll read some of the things I had to talk to the media about, the strength of our team is our skilled people, because we have a lot of those skilled people back. The area that we feel like may be a detriment, but I don't think it is anymore, was our linemen, like Coach Mason said. We're more thrilled with our linemen coming out of 2 days than anything else. They have made giant strides, and we weren't real sure about how they were gonna respond, and that's the challenge I put to them first day out after the season last year. I got all the linemen together and said, guys, it's on your shoulders. You're gonna have to carry it, and you're gonna have to work hard to get where we need to be. And they've stepped up, and we had our summer program this year, and all but one kid that we have listed on our varsity schedule, lineman-wise, we kind of have a percentage deal that they got to come so many times during the summer. All but one kid made that percentage, and so they're dedicated. They want it to work, and I think that's what you're going to see on Friday nights is our determination and our ambition to get where we want to be. So again, we appreciate the opportunity to visit with you guys. Feel free to come visit with us anytime about anything, or in the barber shop, or wherever you see us out on the streets. It's always a pleasure to put our kids up there, and we're proud of them. We're proud of Muleshoe, and if they ever do anything that's going to disappoint us as a community, let us know, and we'll straighten them up for you. Okay? Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.